Before I dive into everything that has happened over the last couple of weeks, I want to get a couple of things out of the way. I moved to this town 4 months ago because of a job offer. I was supposed to start working with a construction company. Second, I am not going to give you my last name, but I will tell you my first name. It's Tom. I am telling you all this just in case. You know. Anyway, I moved here 4 months ago. At first, the job offer seemed too good to be true. I was promised an apartment, full benefits, and grocery delivery twice a month. I was told the town was small, and honestly, it is. I am not used to living in a place like this. I mean, I saw the stars for the first time in my life the day I got to my new apartment. The apartment itself is nice. I have 2 bedrooms and a good-sized bathroom. I have no complaints about any of the accommodations. 2 weeks into moving here, I was told that I would be starting at the end of the month. My boss told me that rent would be covered and gave me a list of things I needed for my first day. As the end of the month came around, I decided to go out and buy a new pair of work boots. I figured this would give me a good chance to get a look around town and maybe meet some people. I was mostly right. The store was only a couple of blocks from my apartment building, so instead of taking my truck, I decided to walk. The town is cozy, you know, like everyone seems normal. Everything felt like it came out of a classic American novel though. So anyway, I went and got my boots, and on the way home I decided to stop at a store and pick up the local newspaper. When I got home and sat on my couch to crack open the newspaper, I could tell something was off right away. The story on the front page read "New Mayor Elected," and right below that, "Strange Lights in the Sky." By itself, those 2 things would not raise red flags, but the pictures looked off. It's hard for me to put into words, but the photo of the new mayor looked both old and new. I scanned the page for a date and couldn't find one. I figured that maybe something went wrong with the printing or something. After I gave the front page a good read, I put the paper down and went to bed. For 2 days I stayed home to make sure I was well rested. At this point, I had not purchased a TV yet and decided to jump on the opportunity. On my way to pick up new boots, I noticed the town library and thought, why not? I could get a couple of books and a new paper. The library itself is beautiful. The wood looks well maintained, and the giant stone lions on either side of the staircase were extremely cool to look at the first time I saw them. Heading into this library was just like walking into any other library. I don't know what I was expecting. The outside was cool, so I thought the inside would be more done up. As I walked through the aisle and scanned the books, I could feel the hairs on my arms stand up. It was a weird feeling, something I had not experienced before this. It was almost like I was scared for no reason. As I pulled a book off of the shelf and read the cover, I was extremely puzzled. For reference, I was standing in the history section. The book read, "To Mars and Back: How America Pioneered Space Travel." It sounded more like a science fiction book to me, and there were a lot of other books like this. "They Live Among Us: Humanity's First Contact with God," or "The Secret History of the Roman Empire." As I went through and examined more books, I started to notice little scratches on the bookcase. They looked like tally marks. I followed them down the shelf until I found some writing. "Turn back and go home" were scribbled on the shelf. I quickly stood up and clenched the book I was holding. As I turned around, I took one last look at the book in my hands before heading off to speak with a librarian. As I approached the counter, I swear to God, the woman behind the counter took my breath away. She was so beautiful, but it didn't seem natural. I could feel the hairs on the back of my head stand up as I got closer to the desk. I decided to put the book down and leave. There was something inside of me screaming at me to not speak to the woman. As I headed out of the building and walked down the staircase, I noticed my hands were shaking. I was confused because technically nothing happened. I never bought a paper that day. Instead, I went home and went to sleep. Technically, it was mid-afternoon. I had no idea why I was tired in the first place. When I woke up the next day and went to check the mail, I found a rolled-up newspaper at my front door. I shit you not, I have been getting a newspaper every day since that day. At first, I was interested in reading them, but the more I read, the more I didn't want to read. At the end of the month, I was waiting for a call from my boss, but the call never came. I tried to call him, but his phone was disconnected. As the next month rolled around, I kept getting the newspapers. I stopped receiving normal mail, and I stopped wanting to live in this damn apartment. 2 weeks into the new month, I decided to call it quits and move back. I was not getting this job, and my time here had been nothing but uncomfortable, so I packed my bags and stormed outside to climb into my truck. I was planning on leaving that day, however, my tires had been slashed. I did what anyone would do, right? I called the damn police. They came promptly, and once again I was met with the same feelings as when I saw the librarian. These men did not look real. Every inch of their faces looked fake. I mean, yes, they were people, but there was not a hair out of place. They were perfectly symmetrical in every way. The whole time I was filling out the police report, my hands were shaking. My body was so tense I thought I was going to fall over on the spot. Once the situation was handled, I ran back to my apartment. I was skipping steps as I went back upstairs. I felt like I could not get upstairs fast enough. A couple of hours later, I heard pounding at my door. I can't stress this enough. The pounding scared the hell out of me. "Who is it?" I screamed. "Please, I need help." A woman called back to me. I went to my front door. I wish I could tell you I did not hesitate, but I did. I eventually opened the door for the woman. She was an absolute mess. Her makeup was running down her face, and she was wearing pajamas. It will sound messed up, but I was so happy to see this woman. Her crying gave me comfort. She did not look like the others. She looked real and natural. I asked her what happened, and she told me her daughter had gone missing. I asked her if she called the police, and she told me no. She said she wouldn't. She told me her daughter wouldn't go to them either. I asked her what her daughter's name is. She told me her name is Zoe. We talked for what felt like hours before I told her I would keep my eyes open. She thanked me and went back to her apartment in tears. As I closed and locked my door, I went to the pile of newspapers and opened the most recent one. I wanted to see if there was any mention of Zoe in the paper. The front page read, "Local man found dead outside of his home. No suspects." Below that there was another heading, "Local girl missing." I checked for a name, but it wasn't Zoe. They are the same age though. As I scanned the paper, I heard a scream come from down the hallway. I stood up quickly and rushed to my door. This time without hesitation, I ripped it open and looked down the hallway, and that's where I saw it. One of the cops, except it wasn't a man. He had tight skin. He almost looked like a walking skeleton. His eyes were bulging out of his head, and his arms were larger. "Sir," the thing said to me. I quickly turned and slammed the door shut. I locked all 4 locks and put the kitchen table up against the door. I haven't left this apartment since. I did call my ex. She said she would come and get me, but I don't know how long I will be waiting. If this is fear, I have had enough. I can't sleep, and I am too scared to eat. It feels like my heart might explode, like my whole perception of reality has changed.